Back again. Hello, and welcome to another great courses. Today's lecturer will be Professor Hans Friedrich Mueller. Oh, I hope I'm saying that right. Uh, as usual, you can find this and other great books wherever you get your audiobooks at. Great Courses, the Great Courses series. And this one is the ancient world of paganism as it moves through history until we get to what we consider Christianity, which Christianity has changed many times over. Uh, the pagan ancient religions, and there are a lot of them. In the previous video, we talked about the word pagan itself and how it came about. Christians are so, uh, they say they love everybody, and they want to be one with God. But then you look at their past and it's like, you people did some of the most horrible things. Alrighty then. So, without further ado, let's catch up with Professor Hans so he can explain more about this concept of paganism, and how it relates to Christianity.
Understanding the depth and strength of their religion will help us understand better the profoundly transformative results of Christian conquest. But we still have a long way to go. Let us begin by defining what we count as religion for the purposes of this course. Human efforts to identify, understand, worship, cultivate supernatural forces will count as religious activity. Such belief systems will be embedded in daily activities of individuals and have important roles in social organization as well. We will count as religious worship and reciprocal relationships between humans and gods. We will count as magic human attempts to compel gods or nature to obey human commands and desires. If I vow, for example, to sacrifice a chicken to Asclepius, provided he cures my ailment, I make an offer to a supernatural being, which he is free to reject. This is reciprocal, and we will count it as religious. If instead I seek to heal my heart by compelling my neighbor's wife to fall in love with me by means of spells, this is magic. If I seek medicine for my heartache, the word in Greek is pharmakos, the source of our word
Pharmaceutical.
perhaps I look for a physician. Religion and magic are also closely related to medicine, which is, of course, another healing art. However, pharmakos can also mean potion or poison. What
He brings up he brings up a very good point. When we discussed ancient Egypt, we learned that a lot of the Greeks got their information, their enlightenment from Egypt. Even when it came to medicine, all they did was copy, paste, and then they used their own language to identify the spells and the castings and the procedures. Excuse me, medical procedures that they learned from ancient Egypt. So a lot of what All right, sorry about that. The timer went off. I had to reset it. So we'll have to back up a little bit and continue.
By means of spells, this is magic. If I seek medicine for my heartache, the word in Greek is pharmakos, the source of our word pharmacy, perhaps I look for a physician. Religion and magic are also closely related to medicine, which is, of course, another healing art. However, pharmakos can also mean potion or poison. What if I seek a love filter to administer to my love interest, and I recite a spell and I make a vow to Aphrodite? Medicine, magic, and religion are sometimes difficult to distinguish. Where to begin? Let us begin at an age where there are no written records,
Hmm.
the Stone Age.
Oh, wow.
Archaeologists infer religion from certain human practices, burial of the dead, for example. We do not know what words were said, nor do we know to what gods, if
Hmm. Oh, wow. I'm just having all kinds of technical difficulties. Hold on.
he is free to reject. This is reciprocal, and we will count it as religious. If instead I seek to heal my heart by compelling my neighbor's wife to fall in love with me by means of spells, this is magic. If I seek medicine for my heartache, the word in Greek is pharmakos, the source of our word pharmacy, perhaps I look for a physician. Religion and magic are also closely related to medicine, which is, of course, another healing art. However, pharmakos can also mean potion or poison. What if I seek a love filter to administer to my love interest, and I recite a spell and I make a vow to Aphrodite? Medicine, magic, and religion are sometimes difficult to distinguish. Where to begin? Let us begin at an age where there are no written records, the Stone Age. Archaeologists infer religion from certain human practices, burial of the dead, for example. We do not know what words were said, nor do we know to what gods, if any, the dead were entrusted. But we do have organized human remains, and these remains tell us that people cared for the deceased. Some were buried whole, some were buried as ashes and bones after cremation. Archaeologists have found grave goods too, jewelry, weaponry. Do these things represent equipment for the deceased in the next world? We can speculate, but no contemporary texts explain to us precisely what we look at. Other objects, too, tell a story. Or perhaps they don't. The Venus of Willendorf, discovered in 1908 in Austria, is perhaps more than 20,000 years old. This carved
Dang.
limestone figurine depicts an obese woman with overlarge buttocks and breasts. Is she a fertility goddess? Call me a skeptic,
Just
but I
overweight.
hesitate to judge unless we have texts to tell us what she meant in language that uses words. I reveal my prejudices. I prefer linguistic evidence. Even then, of course, we can't accept any testimony wholesale. Texts, like the rest of us, can and often do lie, whether by omission or commission or simple ignorance. And we haven't.
Now, what he just said, text can often lie. A lot of times in the ancient Egypt world, they purposely left things out of their scripts. Slavery did not build the pyramids. There's not a lot of information on exactly what king was alive when the slaves so-called slaves were in Egypt? Not much. Um, Professor Breyer, who spoke on that particular book, was saying that there was a lot of kings that when they wrote things in hieroglyphs, they left out some of their not so good battles where they clearly got their ass whipped. Yeah, some of that stuff might have been omitted. Um, some queens that were real popular, they had their names scratched off the stones, and the next king would put his name on the stones as if he was the one that performed these great feats. So yeah, I completely believe him when he says a lot of stuff was left out. So just because you read something doesn't always mean that's the whole story. Sometimes it's what you don't see, it's what you don't hear that tells the story. We'll go a little further and then
Even addressed the deficiencies of the interpreter, who may be removed by time, space, language, culture, history, and religious outlook from the
God dang.
witness borne by any given testimony. Our detective work may be challenging, dear students, so let us reflect for a moment on this Stone Age Venus of Willendorf, a
Oh,
name that calls to mind both the charms and graces of Rome's Venus and the rustic pastures of Germanic lands north of the Alps. If our own descendants, some 20,000 years from now, should find a miraculously preserved Barbie doll
oh,
with her unnaturally narrow waist combined with overlarge hips and breasts, would they be justified in calling her the Venus of El Segundo, California?
probably so. I believe it. I excuse me. I absolutely believe that. Some umpteen thousand years from now, they're digging through uh burial grounds or excavating old cities, and they find a Barbie doll. They may think that that Barbie was a god, was a figurine to the gods. That maybe Barbie was the avatar for Venus in that particular time period. Who knows? But anyway, once again, I try to keep these videos short. If you want to break out and experience this knowledge for yourself, you can find it on the internet. Great courses. They've got quite a few audiobooks to choose from. Uh, I usually get mine from Amazon. You don't have to get yours from Amazon. There are other places to go. But in saying that, be safe, take care, and I will talk to you later.